Buffalo nickels may only have been minted for around 25 years, the series did yield a good harvest of variety coins of all descriptions. So let's take a look at the top 10 Buffalo nickel repunched Mintmark variety coins. The first coin to look at is not perhaps the best known variety to be sure, although it is a very interesting variety and one that should, at least I believe, be on more watch lists than it may currently be. The 1927 D over D over D is a triple punched Mintmark coin. Identification is fairly straightforward, with the remnant of the secondary D impression clearly seen to the top of the final D Mintmark. And a closer look should also reveal the remaining lower rounding of the initial D impression well to the south of the final D. In 2019, there was an auction of an XF40 graded coin from PCGS that sold for $288. And then from there on to the first culprit from the San Francisco Mint, the 1930 S over S repunched Mintmark, a relatively problem-free variety that should be easy enough to identify should you be lucky enough to happen across one. The S was repunched directly to the west on this example, leaving the initial impression of the S exposed to the right of the Mintmark, with both the top serif and the lower roundings still visible. In 2019, an MS64 graded coin in a PCGS slab was sold at auction for $384. In the number 8 position, we have a variety coin from 1935 from the Denver Mint. This time though, a quadruple punched Mintmark. Yes, that's right, this is a D over D over D over D Mintmark coin. One of the Mintmarks was struck slightly towards the southwest. This is by far the clearest of the initial 3 punchings in any die state. Then another was placed southeast of the final D Mintmark. Only the lower half of the D can still be traced here. Then the last one was placed ever so slightly towards the northeast and is by far the weakest of the lot. Now, it should be noted that an earlier die state would be required to view the full extent of all of these restrikes. And chances are indeed excellent that you might only come across a later die state example that could potentially only display the impression that was placed towards the southwest, as indicated by this example. In early 2020, one of these variety coins sold during an online auction in a PCGS slab with a grade of AU55 for $228. Alright, so the number 7 coin is probably one of the more subtle varieties, especially from the ones mentioned here. So if you're not paying close enough attention while searching, it would be easy to miss, which would be a genuine pity as it is also a very hard variety to actually locate. The 1915 S over S was actually triple struck, with the initial and secondary impression slightly towards the north and south respectively of the final placement. It can be best spotted by the slight outlines of the impressions that still remain towards the top as well as the bottom of the lower tail of the S. In 2019, an XF40 graded coin from PCGS was sold at auction for $384, although in past auctions higher graded coins have sold for well over $1,000, such as an AU55 example that sold in 2015 for $1,703. Another coin from the San Francisco Mint is now being presented, and the first of 2 coins on this list from 1936 is the 1936 S over S repunched Mintmark. On this coin, it is clear that the initial Mintmark placement was way too low and had to be readjusted. The final placement was directly towards the north, and as a result of the very wide separation between the 2 points, and the fact that the initial punching was sufficient sufficiently strong in its own right, most of the S can still be seen, either towards the south or barely peeking out from behind the final S in spots, including the top serif. For this coin, we recall an auction from 2016 where PCGS MS65 coin was sold for $822. And then, precisely at the halfway mark on this list, we head back briefly to 1915, but this time to view a variety from the Denver Mint instead. On this coin, we see another quite strong and very clear repunched Mintmark variety, much like the prior example as well. However, here, the D was first struck too close, in fact, actually touching the C of cents, and as a result had to be repositioned closer to its intended location towards the southeast. The effect is immediately clear. In 2015, a coin like this was sold in a grade of MS62 from Anox for the sum of $2,232. Moving ahead to the 1925 S over S Buffalo Nickel, another coin that I am constantly amazed at how few people seem to be aware of it, especially considering how bold the repunching on this variety actually is. The initial S was placed towards the southeast of the final Mintmark. You can see the lower rounding of the S effectively doubled towards the right. The lower serif of the S is also affected, making it seem larger than it really should be, and the top part of the S seems to suffer from a die defect that makes it look like a filled S variety as well. 2015 saw the auction of a PCGS AU55 graded coin for the sum of $2,350. And then for probably the slightly most controversial, if that's even the right word, coin on this list, the 1936 D over D over D variety, although you will likely come across someone who is still insisting to call this a D over S variety instead. The remnants of the first two strikings can be seen directly towards, although just barely, mind you, towards the east of the D, and then the strange initial striking, which is in fact the cause of most of the confusion, inside the cavity of the D. A brilliant example was sold in 2017 in a PCGS slab with a grade of MS67 for $5,875. At the top of this list are two repunched Mintmark coins from 1938. Well, to be more specific, the coin in the number 9 slot is actually an over Mintmark variety, mostly referred to as the 1938 D over S. However, the story is not quite that simple, as this is in reality a D over D over D over S quadruple punched Mintmark. There are other D over S varieties for this date as well, but this is by far the most interesting. The underlying S is clearly seen on this particular coin, both towards the top of the initial D as well as inside the cavity of the D Mintmark as well, where portions of the lower rounding of the S can also be seen. Closer inspection will also reveal additional points of interest that will betray the placement of the secondary and tertiary D Mintmarks over the initial S. 2018 saw the public auction of an MS68 graded coin from NGC that managed to achieve $4,800. And then, the other repunched Mintmark from 1938 that stands out is the main D over D variety. Again, a red book listed variety coin that remains very popular with collectors across the board. On this coin, the D Mintmark was repunched directly towards the east, with the initial impression being displayed towards the west, or, well, the left, of the D Mintmark. Not only that, but the inside loop of the D is also doubled quite nicely in the same manner. For this variety, we can head back to 2018, where PCGS graded MS67 Plus example was sold at auction for the sum of $5,520. Subscribe to WNN and remember to activate notifications with the bell icon as well if you haven't already to know when new videos are released. For the World Numismatic News, I am Numisman saying thank you for watching. Stay safe, keep collecting, and have a great day.